Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, welcome to The Week with me, Comrade Fatso. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Comrade Jacob Mafume, the MDC spokesperson. Comrade Jacob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Fatso. It's always good to see you.
So, Baba, we want to get straight into this. We've got so many MDC MPs who are in hiding. Even you yourself, you seem to be keeping a low profile at the moment. But didn't you guys, you know, MDC and your friends, the Crisis Coalition and ZC2, didn't you guys cause this shutdown thing?
No, we didn't cause the shutdown. It was a ZCTU shutdown. They were very clear from the start that it was a stay away caused by the reckless witchly announcement by the president in the wee hours of the night that he was going to, as of immediate effect, announce fuel increases. Now, anywhere else in the world where even a 20% announcement of fuel increase creates havoc, now an over 150% announcement of fuel crisis created panic, alarm, and despondence. So when a government makes witchly announcements, it then creates people to make a spontaneous reaction. In this case, it was the ZCTU. We respect the ZCTU. We will not take part of what they do for the workers as what we have done. We represent the majority of Zimbabweans. And all we do is we empathize with the ZCTU. But this was a planned process, planned by the ZCTU and not by Crisis Coalition. I don't speak for the Crisis Coalition, but it was not by the civil society organization, and it was not certainly by our party. And my president has made it clear, and I have made it clear as the people's spokesperson.
Don't you think that you MDC comrades are like Enzo Aishal? I mean, Enzo Aishal, he ran away from his wife. Your MDC MPs are running away from ZANU-PF. Oh, what are you scared of?
No, we're not running away. Our MPs were in parliament. Gonese raised these issues in parliament. But what we have is we're vigilantes that are wearing balaclavas, that are going to the homes of our MPs, that are going to the homes of our supporters, and breaking into houses, kidnapping people, beating them, and leaving them for dead either in the Bundu or at the police station. Now that is a dangerous state of affairs. Any nation that is unable to protect its citizens, the security sector is supposed to be for all citizens. It must protect the citizens. If somebody has committed a crime, they are not supposed to be shot, to be beaten. That is summary judgment. That is a jihadist kind of approach to justice. If you arrest me, call me. If you think I've committed a crime, call me. We go to your police station, we talk about it, we go to the court. Now we have courts that are behaving like court martials. You go there, they suspend all the rules of criminal procedures that we have known. They suspend all the rules of justice. They do not give lawyers time to prepare. A country where lawyers have had to march against the judiciary. That is big Magate stuff, like Enzo Ishmael. Parutoda Magate court. Parutoda Magate kuma security services. Agati one day. So we need to treat each other in a civilized manner. We need to stop the persecution of our MPs. We need to stop the persecution of our members. Being an opposition person is not a crime. It is part and parcel of democracy.
But you're saying soldiers are, soldiers in the police. But comrades, we are hearing that, from reliable sources that police and soldiers are not beating people. It's these cheeky civilians who've stolen the uniforms of the soldiers and the police. They're going around beating people. And we've got it on good authority from Comrade Charity Charamba that any beatings you are seeing now, that happened in 2016.
Well, the uncharitable Charamba has been proven to be a liar. She claimed that some video was for 2016. We had someone who had a Chelsea jersey from 2017 to 2018. We had the new number plates that were issued in 2018. We had a resurfaced road. She ignored that and even claimed to have spoken to the owner of that combi, and she wished that he was there. I'm now feeling very alarmed for that owner of the combi. There's a story that all the animals of the jungle were running away from ZRP the other day because the ZRP said they were looking for the baboon, and the other animals were then asked why were they running away. He said, 2 hours with ZRP, we will all confess to be baboons. So I think this owner of the Kombi, people should really look for him, because he might have confessed himself that this video was for 2016 in circumstances that no one knows. We now being told that they are fake soldiers. We are now being told they are fake police stations. We are being told they are fake helicopters. We are being told that the armory was raided. We are being told that they are rogue soldiers. It's unbelievable. We have never heard such. This is a security state. You cannot even shoot a gun in your neighborhood without the police coming to ask you why you were shooting the gun. Every gun is registered. Every gun sound is monitored, even in the bush. The security people will come and say, last week you rang a gun, what were you shooting at? So we need to have an independent ombudsman. The constitution provides for an independent mechanism to monitor the security services. That independent mechanism has not been put in place. The police cannot police themselves. They cannot arrest themselves. They cannot accuse themselves. They'll find defenses for themselves instead of investigating themselves.
A multiple choice question for you, comrade. Who runs E.D. Mnangagwa's Twitter account? Is it A, Petina Gapa, B, Energy Mutodi, or C, Robert Gabriel Mugabe?
Well, if I were to take a pick, I'll think it's A, Petina Gapa, because it's the only handle that makes sense in terms of communication from him. It is written in reasonably good English, and sometimes it's quite poetic.
So what are you saying about Energy Mutodi's English then?
Energy. Energy Mutodi does not speak English. I don't know what he speaks and thinks in. He doesn't even think in Shona. He thinks in a confused madman kind of thing. I think too much rumba got in his head during the days of rumba. So the Energy Mutodi has got energy in the wrong direction almost all the time. His head is full of confusion. And I think how he finds himself in government is a mystery of the ages. I think it will need archaeologists to study how such a chap can even pretend to be called a minister.
Shots fired, comrades. Shots fired. E.D. Mnangagwa has recently tweeted about the need for national dialogue. What is MDC's position on this?
Well, we have, as my president said in the latest statement, we have written letters to President Mnangagwa. We have said it publicly at press statements. My president has said it. I have said it as the spokesperson and the people's spokesperson. And we have said that the solution to Zimbabwe's problems is dialogue. We are waiting for that dialogue. We are asking for bread, yet we are getting stones. We have said, let's talk, we are getting fists. We instead we have even maintained that despite the fists that are coming, despite the stones that are coming, let's sit down together. Let's talk around together. Zimbabwe is our country. The solution to Zimbabwe's problems is us dialoguing. The government is concentrating on talking to everybody else in the world except the people who matter, the Zimbabweans. We are the ones who will restore legitimacy. We are the ones that are to be governed. We are the ones that will come up with a way forward around the 5-point plan that President Nelson Chamisa has put out there.
We hear rumors of a rift between ED and Chiwenga. Has there been a military takeover of government?
Well, it's an oxymoronic question in the sense that 2017, the military took over in plain view of the world and promised a democratic transition. That has not happened. Zimbabwe has always been a military-industrial complex. The military has always led the politics, and they've made no bones about it. The rift between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga is a good cop, bad cop strategy. He plays the soft guy, the other one plays hardball, and they interchange this playing of the hardball. They are as thick as thieves. They've been friends for a long time. Yes, a camp might have disputes like any family, but that dispute does not take and carry for long. They are one. The issue is power retention by any means necessary, and that is what they are doing. But what we need is to transit Zimbabwe to a civilian process, a democratic state, so that it can develop sustainable growth in terms of its economy and livelihoods of the people. And the security sector strategy must be people-centered rather than individual-centered. It must be about protecting the Zimbabweans to the person rather than protecting the business interests of particular Zimbabweans who believe that if they do well, then everybody else must be doing well.
Now, is Thomas Mafume correct? He recently did an interview and he said basically that him and Tuku are the only globally known Zimbabwean artists, whereas Alec Macheso is known by like 3.5 Zimbabweans in South London. Is that true?
Yeah, well, it's Mukanya being Mukanya. And I have lots of respect for Macheso, but I do believe that the current crop of musicians have got a lot to learn from Mukanya and Mutodi. They never ran away from social commentary. They never ran away from talking about what affected the people. They never saying asymmetrical to what the conditions are on the ground. And I think Winky D and what's his name, Toki Vibes, have picked up from its singing and being a poet, a people's singer. It's not all about trying to lull them into believing that they don't have problems. It's also about singing to the conditions that people are affecting. That affecting the people, and that is what Mukanya and Thomas Mafume did. So therefore they grew, because people will always recognize themselves in their music, not only playful times or musical times, but even describe the suffering and name the people who are making them suffer. And that is where Mukanya, Mafume, Mukanya and Tuku, his soul rest in peace, are a cut above the rest.
Now, talking about artists, now moving on to comedians. Our lawyers really seemed like comedians this week in their march, and it seemed like they were mocking our VP, saying rule of law and liberating the courts. What should we do with these guys? Should we send these lawyers to Chikurubi just so they have some discipline?
I'll give you a lawyerly answer. They never named anyone. There are so many errors that come from Malawi and laws that come from Malawi. But if somebody decides to wear the jacket on his own place, it is not the one who has said those things. It is you who has decided to wear the jacket. As Jesus said, the time when he was asked to who shall betray us, he said, you have said it yourself.
So I've just betrayed the lawyers.
You have just
my apologies.
So if he thinks the jacket fits, be my guest, he must put it on.
You and Chamisa, you guys, you think you're so amazing, always criticizing our president. What would you do differently if you were running the economy?
Well, we have put it out in our economic blueprint, the SMART, which was our manifesto. Look, we are spending what we don't have. We've got to go back to the eat what we kill mantra. We've got a budget deficit that is galloping. There are so many inflationary pressures. There is too much corruption. We are borrowing all the time, domestically, externally, and not returning those debts. And it's a bottomless pit. We are a dog chasing our tail. We need to go back to the basics. We need to eat what we kill. We need to cut government expenditure. We need to create an investment climate that is conducive. We need to get back into international relations, deal with the issues of political legitimacy. We must become part of the community of nations. Thereby we can get concessions, credit, and other things that come with being a member of the international community. Seek ye first the political kingdom, and then the economy will follow. Let's do the political reforms, and the economic reforms will follow and will be easy to do. You cannot become a dictator and try to command and frighten the economy into well-being. It won't happen.
But don't you think now all our economic woes are going to be dealt with? There's this new presidential advisory council. The list came out, and we've got, luminaries on there like Shingi Munyeza and Trevor Ngube and others like Kuda Tagbire, who maybe have been advising the president for a bit before this. I mean, don't you think that, this new council, maybe they've got all the new ideas we need for the economy?
Well, I looked at the council. It reminds me of those, Sungura bands that used to be called Orchestra Jazz Band or Dendera Jazz Band. It had everything and everyone. Someone who screams, someone who dances, and all musical. Bass guitar, bira, all the things. And they had the nerve to call it a jazz band. Now, this motley crew of individuals, some of questionable characters, some of them had before this dispensation had very good characteristics, but they will not do anything. You cannot put two apples in a barrel, two well apples in a barrel of rotten apples, and expect the two apples to spread freshness. We are doing it the wrong way. You cannot ride a dead horse. This horse is dead. You cannot ride it. You cannot change the saddle, put in new riders, or increase the number of doctors to wake up a corpse.
But maybe all the horse needs a bit of jazz and a bit of gospel and a bit of sungura from this big band.
and the tune will be the sound of a perfect horror movie. We are going to have horror economics.
Comrade Jacob Mafume, thank you for joining us on The Week, Comrade.
Thank you so much.
We hope you don't get arrested. Comrade, we need people to interview, you know?
Yeah, well, we are there. There are so many fake police stations, fake lists, wanted lists. I'm here, I'm perfect. I'm not going anywhere. The people's cause is my cause. We will meet what needs to be met for the people of Zimbabwe to be free.
Great. And if you get taken to a fake police station, we'll just bring our fake news crew to come and film you there. So, Jacob, thanks for joining us. And now we'd like to observe a moment's silence for all the women who've been raped by soldiers after the shutdown.